I'm a huge gamer, as weird as it is to say in 2024. I've played a lot of games in my day. I've played Dark Souls, Power World, Destiny. I've played a large amount of games, and the only game type that I could never really get into was the stereotypical MMO. Destiny was an MMO, but not in some ways that you would expect it to be, like not like WoW or New World or those kinds of games. And my entire family played MMOs for the longest time. I mean, they played WoW forever and ever, and I could just never get into them. And so I always felt weird, like I could never like the things that they liked, and I couldn't figure out why. I would try so many different games and so many different kinds of projects and just never end up liking them. This was until I found Final Fantasy XIV. And it finally occurred to me what makes an MMO so great. And that's what I wanted to talk about today, is what is different about an MMO from a normal game that makes people want to play it for such a long period of time. I also just wanted to shine a light on Final Fantasy XIV because it is genuinely probably one of the best games I've ever played. So, yeah. I hope you enjoy the rest of the video, and let me know if you guys like this kind of content or if you want to go back to just the old shit. There's some of the old shit in the new shit, so we'll see how you guys like it. But let's get started with the video. You know, I never could stick to just one MMO. I always had to go through them like I was window shopping. And whenever I did find an MMO I liked, I only played 2/3 of it and then would quit and go on to find the next one that I would like. I never liked any of them, truthfully. I tried to play WoW, and I would play it pretty frequently because my family liked it, and they'd always beg me to get on and do raids and dungeons with them. But it just never clicked with me, that mindset of wanting to play every day and do everything that you can in that game. This is the same thing for Black Desert Online, only I didn't even get fucking nearly as far as I did WoW in that game, and New World was, well, New World. But this changed whenever I found Final Fantasy XIV, and I couldn't quite put my finger on why this occurred. I had played a lot of MMOs before, but never truly understood them, so I didn't really know the differences between this and WoW, or why I truly enjoyed it over the others. So I thought, what better way to understand what the differences between WoW and Final Fantasy XIV and what makes a good MMO than to ask my brothers who have been playing the game for almost 20 years. Firstly, though, I wanted to talk to my brother that doesn't like MMOs to show the perspective of a lot of you out there who also hate MMOs and why they, in general, just don't like them. I hope you enjoy all these conversations with my brothers because I had a blast recording them, and please let me know if you like this kind of form of content, because I truthfully haven't made anything like this yet, so I'd appreciate feedback on it. I hope you enjoy. So around right here is where the microphone will hear you pretty well. So keep that in mind.
So do I have to talk at that volume the whole time?
If possible.
Can you hear it like this?
Yeah, no, this is recording.
Right now?
Yeah. This is Carter. This is my brother. He's a professional actor, and I'll put his Instagram, so you guys should go check him out because he's pretty cool. But he had the same opinion as me whenever we first started playing MMOs, and he didn't like them really at all. So I wanted to ask. In fact, we tried to get him to play it for a long time, and I would stick it out, but he would play it and go, "This shit sucks." And then he would go play like. He played Brink.
Dude, what is this?
He played Brink instead. So. Yeah. So why don't you like MMOs or any of those games?
Dude, you're gonna hit me with Brink right out of the gate.
I thought it was just only fair.
So I don't like MMOs. I think it's. Well, I like MMOs. It's not MMOs themselves. It's there's. I think that for me, well, let me start by saying I've been playing games like my whole life. You know.
Yeah.
I'm a gamer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe I'm not a real gamer because I don't like games that anybody else likes. Because I like Brink, but I still think Brink was underrated.
He just bought Star Wars Outlaws.
Games. I'm having a lovely time on Star Wars Outlaws.
Okay, so back to the main point. Why don't you like MMOs?
Okay.
Or what are your thoughts on MMOs?
For example, I know I'm going to lose people right out of the gate by asking this question. Would like Diablo and like Destiny, are those MMOs?
Destiny is considered an MMO, but it's like, to me, it's like an MMO light.
Right.
It's not
right,
like
simplified MMOs.
Yeah.
about MMOs, I acknowledge they're wonderful games, and they're masterfully crafted. But I think what scares me is sometimes it feels a little overwhelming. Now, if that makes me, I asked you the other day where I was like, "Am I a casual?" Because I asked, I feel like the deeper, sometimes the more in depth and overly like meticulous that the mechanics go, sometimes it almost freaks me out. Where like sometimes even in like Diablo, like where if it's like gems, runes, aligning certain gems with your gear to make sure it's right, and if you don't get it right, it's not adequate. Everyone calls you a fucking idiot on the raid because you don't have the right stuff.
Yeah.
So I think for me, it's like sometimes when I would log into WoW, there was so much to do, and I feel like I would want to do all of it. That it would make me nervous because I was like, dude, I can't do all this, especially as you get like busier with school or whatever, because I want to do all of it. It'd be like, oh hey, you gotta water your crops. Yeah. You gotta go take care of your dog. Where I was like, man, this is almost like just as stressful as real life. Like sometimes in big MMOs, because I will say I love video games. If you name it, I probably have at least heard of it or tried it. Like, I've been playing all different types of games, and it was a lot of dailies, right? Dailies or weeklies or dungeons, where if you didn't log on every day, or if you didn't keep up every day, you would lose progress and kind of get caught behind. So if you didn't play and you didn't keep up with certain things, your gear was kind of de-evolved while everybody else was leveling up and continuing. So that was, for me, I think it's just the overwhelming nature of like there's so much to do. Whereas like and maybe I am a casual. I don't think Brink was a great game, by the way. That was a joke. I don't think Brink was that great of a game. Brink was a soft spot that really hurt.
After sitting down and talking with Carter about a lot of things, I got a lot of what he said. For the people who play MMOs, this looks like a fucking beautiful landscape where you can do whatever you want, be whoever you want. But for someone who maybe doesn't get it quite as much as you or I do, especially me now, this can be one of the most overwhelming, huge-ass areas with multiple things to do a day-ass game. And I can't blame them for that at all. And I think that was really the main thing that was holding me back before I even got into Final Fantasy, was how difficult it can be to get into an MMO rather than staying on it. Because staying on an MMO whenever you get it is the easiest fucking thing in the world. Whenever you get attached to that world, your character, the people that you talk to, the people that you play with, you become phenomenally much more inclined to get on every day to see how far you can take that character and to go see more of those worlds and the enemies and the lore behind it. But if you don't know any of that, it's just a big-ass world with health bars everywhere. I'll admit, whenever I did first start playing Final Fantasy, it felt the exact same way. I loaded up, made my character, and dropped into the open world. And from the perspective that has no idea what this world even has to offer you, it is hard to get through the first couple of levels of grinding away to seeing what the world has to offer. And I can totally see from the viewpoint of someone who is used to more openly known games like maybe Space Marine 2 or Counter-Strike, where it puts you straight into the action and you understand what your objective is, it isn't nearly as overwhelming. And I thoroughly enjoyed my talk with Carter and thought that it was amazing. Again, if you guys want to go see his acting Instagram page, I will put it down in the description. He is an amazing person. I love him to death. He was like, everyone's going to hate me because of my game taste. I don't think they will. I think you guys are perfectly fine. But next up, we have Casey. Casey has been playing MMOs for the majority of his life. He has played WoW for a very long time, and for a very long time, I mean a very fucking long time before I was even born. He is probably one of the smartest people I know. He is a joy to talk to, and I wanted to pry his brain about why he enjoyed MMOs over other games, or about an MMO caught his eye. Because if there was anyone who understood the mechanics of an MMO and the depth and complexity of them, it would be him over even me. I am just now getting into these, and so I wanted to ask him, after his thousands of hours on these games, what about it made him choose it over other games. I hope you guys enjoy. Okay, so for the first interview, we had my brother Carter, who hated MMOs and quite frankly.
This really is how we're gonna start.
Yeah, is that okay?
I thought this was like a real interview.
So we had my brother Carter who hated MMOs and didn't play them because, quite frankly, he just didn't enjoy them. Meanwhile, my brother here, Casey, loves MMOs and has played them for the majority of his life. So I want to talk to you as someone who has played them for a very long time. Why do you play MMOs over normal games for a long period of time, and what attracts you to them? Like whenever you first started playing WoW, because you started playing it whenever it first came out, right?
Yeah, it was like I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was so young. I would just get home and I'd create a dude, and I just wanted to see everything. So I would just run and die, and then res and run back, and die and run and swim and die and run and swim. It's not about seeing everything, but I think that your confusion about MMOs is also the reason why you call it an MMO. Because MMO is just massive multiplayer online game, right?
Yeah.
People always forget the last three letters that come on after MMO, right? So it should be MMORPG.
Yeah.
Okay, MMOs, today you can classify Call of Duty as an MMO,
Yeah.
right? You need the RPG aspect. So, and honestly, the only MMO I've really played extensively, or MMORPG, is World of Warcraft, right? I think that that what makes them so great is the people, the community aspect of it, right? You like Final Fantasy, right?
Yeah.
I hate Final Fantasy. For two reasons. My older brother used to play Final Fantasy, or Chris, our oldest brother, would play Final Fantasy all the time, and he would never let me play it. Secondly, I just didn't, I couldn't really get into the Final Fantasy thing, but you're playing Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Do your friends play?
Yes.
That's probably why you like Final Fantasy. Because you play with your friends, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we're ever going to have an MMORPG that matches up to WoW in its heyday, right? And vanilla WoW. Nowadays, everybody plays video games, right?
Yeah.
Like, everybody plays video games.
Yeah.
So, back then, I would, after practice, when an expansion came out, we'd be in line
Yeah.
with our hoodies up, hiding in the line to buy the newest expansion of WoW because we didn't want anybody to see us. It was a little different back then. And back then, we didn't have like video chat. We didn't have, you have Discord now. You can stream. We didn't really have. We had a thing called Ventrilo, which was basically like a dial-up system. It sounded like that. Okay, you know how sometimes nowadays you get customer help and you get a call from India?
Yeah.
It's basically that quality back
It was
then.
like the Xbox 360 static.
Yeah, I mean, it just was super unreliable, and people could name themselves whatever they want, so you didn't even know who the hell was in there, but that was it. People see RPG and they think, oh man, they're like role-playing. It wasn't even about role-playing. I never role-played in WoW.
Yeah.
There are people that did, and those fuckers are weird. You don't ever go to Goldshire in an RP realm. You just didn't do it. You didn't do that. But we played on a PvP server, not RPG, because RPG was its own server back in the day. And people literally would role play. Like,
Yeah.
I am mischievous. I shoot lightning bolts out of my asshole. But on our server, PvP server, it was just other person that was playing, and you'd group up, and it wasn't as easy to look someone up back then as it is today. So you would just get to know them as their character in WoW. So you would get a group of friends and you would know their character. Even though it's them talking like a normal person, you get to know the character. Like it was a person acting like themselves, but you wouldn't call him, like if his name was Steve, you wouldn't say Steve. You'd say, Boomed, or you'd say Azuri, or you'd say...
That's funny you say that, because I think I've only ever heard you call some of your friends by their WoW usernames, like Sepsis.
Yeah.
Or like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's how what you got attached to the world, you got attached to the game, you got attached to your character, you got attached to their character. It was, everybody says about, WoW is community. It's hard to explain what we mean by community, because it was like you were actually in that world. world, right? So everybody was on their own servers, and you just played on that server. So you got to know people, whether it was your own faction or your other faction, and you wanted to succeed in that world.
Yeah.
And, you know, a bunch of people say it was like a social thing in that world, right? That guy's got tier 2 armor. Holy shit, that guy's badass.
They're like holding the highest rank on like the PvP, like being a gladiator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you look back at it and you're like, man, that guy's life probably sucks. Because he couldn't sleep for more than 2 hours a night. You know, he had to keep going to do whatever he was doing for, you know, months at a time to be the top dude.
Yeah.
But back then, you saw that guy. You aren't thinking of what he looks like in real life. You see that guy with the Grand Marshal or Warlord armor and weapons, and you're like, oh shit. You don't mess with that guy. And that's just how it was back then. But, you know, nowadays it's so socially acceptable to play that people make money off streaming it.
Yeah.
So even the characters that everybody knew about.
I wouldn't know anything about that.
Yeah, no. But the people, now it's so socially acceptable they make money off streaming games.
Mm-hmm.
If you would have streamed WoW back in the day, you would have gotten beat up in the locker room. So it became like this close-knit group of people because it was fun. It was fun, and you obviously wouldn't tell anybody at high school. You wouldn't tell your friends you were playing. You know, then someone would like say something, you'd be like, "Hey, do you play WoW? Like, do you play WoW?" And it wasn't like today where it's like, "Do you play Call of Duty?"
Yeah.
You know, it was, "Do you play WoW? What do you play?"
Yeah.
It was classifying who you were in the world that you loved.
Yeah.
At least I didn't fucking play Greek.
This talk with Casey that I had during this portion of the video, whenever we recorded it, was probably some of the best conversation that I've had in a very, very long time. I didn't expect any of this to occur, but this conversation with Casey was everything that I was hoping. And now that I think about it, everything that he said is genuinely right and true. You don't play MMOs mainly for just the MMO aspect of it. It's really the RPG that gets you to play it. And not in the common sense where you literally hop on and act like you are that character. It is the world and the characters that you get attached to in that world that matter to you. I've played a lot of Final Fantasy at the time of making this clip right here. This was a couple of days even after I had the video idea and recording with Carter and Casey, so I've had time to process and think about it. And the community of MMO games are really something special. And I have never played a game with such a forgiving and kind community more than Final Fantasy. Anytime that I had a question about how the game worked, how do I do certain things, the Final Fantasy community was there to help me, and they helped me joyfully, not like a babysitter watching a fucking kid, even though that was me at some points. There was one time where I did mess up my first ever raid as a tank because I didn't look it up, and my friends were like, "Hey dude, you can totally do this without looking it up because it was shit easy." And then as a tank, you need to fucking know the raid. Okay, if you're playing a tank in this game and anyone's like, "Dude, you can just hop into raids and not even know what you're doing." Yes, you do. You will know what you're doing. And now everyone on Bryn Hill, their server, hates the name Cambrodia Poglor. And I am sorry. So if you're going to do a raid, look up the fucking raid mechanics. I'm not joking. Please do that. It makes it a lot less stressful. But more than that, as you explore the world of Final Fantasy, or even any MMO really, you forge friendships. And I did with a couple of people that I have been talking to. And what he said about you knowing them as their character is probably the most true thing that I had never really thought about. Was, yes, you know there's a person there, but you only think of them as their character. And whenever you do that, your brain gets attached to the world because of it. And it is such a simple thing, yet it has a huge impact on people for fucking 20 years. And whenever you truly do get sucked into this world, there is so much content to do, so many different areas to explore, so many different gear and train mogs to do, and gambling. There's a lot of gambling. which is probably my favorite part. All jokes aside, if you can get hooked into an MMO is one of the coolest experiences ever, as you build your character in that world and learn about the roots of it and where it came from, the different players on that realm that you're playing on or server, form attachments to them, begin talking with them, get known on that server, and as you explore the different game mechanics, before you know it, without realizing it, you won't realize it, but one day you'll get on and realize that you're hooked and that you don't want to get off. Thank you guys for watching this video. This has been a longer one to make for obvious reasons. It's my normal just stand in front of the green screen and spout shit at you for 20 to 15 minutes. So I appreciate you if you've made it to the end. I will see you guys next time. The next video should be over Silent Hill 2, because that has been a banger of a game so far. And if you have made it to this point, please subscribe, because that would mean the absolute world to me. Thank you. Thank you guys a lot.